Oh, hey, Shalom, Israel. This the ISUPK Milwaukee. I'm Officer Canonius. Salakia. That little shot just threw me off. Shalom, Israel. This the ISUPK coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. We are not affiliated with no Israelite group, period. I'm Officer Canania. This is ISUPK Milwaukee. And today, we're gonna be learning about brotherhood first off. You know what I'm saying? Also throwing in some modern day stories and how they relate to the Bible. Also throwing in a little bit of I got to do this conspiracy theories, right? Salakia, hold up, hold up, hold up. Salakia, gotta move this, okay? Yeah, throwing up a little bit of okay, we got Shalom Yahweh Shamar Al Taba Hashem Yahweh Shah to the sisters and to my rib. Princess Nazam in the building and Princess Yaizra in the building. I see Princess Nazam has a new picture. Okay. We just need my rib Yaizra to get a new picture if she could, you know what I'm saying? But Salaki. Yeah, today we're gonna talk about the end of the world, which we all know. If you don't know, Esau is the ending of the world, which is going on today. He is totally destroying this place with all his confusion, his negativity. You know, he's like a straight pest on the earth. You know what I'm saying? Exterminating, killing anything he want to kill, corrupting anything he want to corrupt, and sitting back and acting like nothing is going on. Or he is putting all the blame on us. You know what I'm saying? He'll corrupt us, make us the face of something negative, and then say, well, see, it's y'all the one doing it to your own selves. No, you put the things in position to destroy us, and you made them so readily available for us to obtain that, you know, it's your fault that you did this to us. You substantially. Oh, well, the general kept addressing me as brother. Oh my goodness. No, I had to change it up. Okay. Well, that's what's up, because you know I'm glad you did that, because I've been meaning to change some of my pictures on some of my social medias, but you know, sometimes we get so busy with the work of the Lord and other things that we forget. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you for, you know, coming into the class and also giving me that idea to switch up our, you know, picture and, you know, stuff like that. You know, we got to dig deeper into these apps, because sometimes they hide the settings and things like that. Okay, we got another princess in here. Shalom Yahweh Shamar Al-Thaba Hashem Yahweh Shah to Princess Kayawa. Is that Kayawa? Kayawa. If I'm saying it right. If I'm butchering your name, Salakia, you know. But appreciate you joining the class. That's a sister out of Tampa, Florida. You know what I'm saying? In this class, we do things a little bit controversial, you know. This ain't gonna be like your regular class, but we are gonna be speaking about the end of the world, you know, and brotherhood. The end of the world and brotherhood is like at the top of the list of the topics that we're gonna be talking about. Okay, we got another sister in the building. Shalom, Yahweh Shemar, Thaba Hashem Yahshua to the sister out in Chicago, Kwamada. You know what I'm saying? Shalom says, glad to see you in class today. Glad to see you joining my class. You know, obviously, you know, we do things a little bit slightly different over here, because we don't want to be, you know, we want to, in my class, well, rather, I would like to, you know, do things a little just spur of the thought, and also obviously we coming out the Bible with the scriptures, and you know, just things that pertain to what I'm talking about today. But the topic is, you know, the end of the world and brotherhood. Man, brotherhood / sisterhood, because you know, we can't never show enough brother and sisterhood. Sometimes you might have sisters going through it on the low. I think I was going through this personally, but it's not just for the brothers, it's for the sisters too. Sisters be going through things on the low, and sometimes, you know, coming into this truth, sometimes we still like close ourselves off, or we go through things solo when we can, you know, reach out to other sisters. You know, we all met each other through this truth. If it wasn't for this truth, we wouldn't know about each other or about the Bible. We would have just been in the world doing what we was doing before we came in the truth. But the ISUPK, you know, the brotherhood and the sisterhood is what we want to make stronger, because obviously we all thinking of the same thing. We want to get out this hellhole. We want to come together and stop all the drug usage. You know what I'm saying? Stop all the negativity, the negative stigma, and the negative persona that the United States, or shall I call them Esau, obviously put upon us. You know what I'm saying? We want to show the world that we can come together in peace and unity and fight for the same cause, which is to get us, you know what I'm saying, gather ourselves together and get ourselves out of this hellhole. Because if we don't do it, you know what I'm saying, nobody else will do it. You know, the what you call them? But I can't even think. The Muslims, they iffy. You know what I'm saying? That's an Arab religion anyway. But you know, some of them be claiming that they don't like the white man, but be dating a white lady on the low, or eating pork on the low. You know what I'm saying? You know what we just seen on Facebook too. It's funny. It was some, I don't even know the name of their group. They got a group and they celebrate Thanksgiving as Yahushai Day. That was some of the funniest stuff I ever seen in my life. And then they had the nerve to have pork on the table, and he was reading scriptures and his head was covered. I'm like, these people is totally lost. You know what I'm saying? But not up in here. Now, ISUPK, you know, like I was saying before, we want to make that brotherhood and that sisterhood strong. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to try to, as far as the men, we're not going to try to take your wives from you. And as far as the sisters, I know they're not going to try to sleep with your husband. They're not going to try to, you know, do any backhand thing that the women in the world do. You know what I'm saying? As far as coming between you and your husband, you know. Now, if they, you know, granted, you know, we teach that men can have more than one wife in here, but you know, we don't in here, we don't do things sneakily. We don't try to steal the women don't try to steal your husband away, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's more of a coming together, because you know, obviously the women in the whole entire world, the women do outnumber the men. So sometimes you might have to share your husband with another woman, and I know it's hard. Sometimes it, you know, coming out of the world, you know, we have to reprogram ourselves to obviously not be selfish. Selfish is one of the biggest demons that's a part of the Black, Hispanics, and Native American communities. And it's not our fault, but it was taught to us growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll get something and, you know, this is mine. This is mine and all mine, and anything try to steal from me gonna suffer the consequences, right? But in here, we have to learn how to show that brotherhood, show that sisterhood. You know what I'm saying? This ain't just mine. I'm not just fighting for myself when I you know, when we teach these classes, when we go to camp, when we, you know, hand out the flyers. You know what I'm saying? We trying to get as much of our people, the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, out of this hellhole along with us. You know what I'm saying? This is not a selfish thing that we doing. And obviously, you know, when it comes to these classes, we would like you to, you know, like, share, and subscribe, so maybe somebody else can see it, or, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. This ain't a selfish act. That if you join the ISUPK, you have to, you know, and this goes for the brothers and the sisters that's just now coming in. You know what I'm saying? You have to learn how to not be selfish. Being selfish is like, say you got the antidote to some sickness, right? And you ain't the only one needed, but you saying, well, at least I got the antidote. But you can save someone else's life by, you know what I'm saying, at least giving them the antidote or showing them the way. That's what we want to do. We want to give the people, I don't want to say the people, well, y'all know what I mean. We want to give Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you know what I'm saying, the antidote or the cure to America, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously they trying everything and anything to bring us back it's a damnation, or going down that wrong path. And their biggest tool I hate to say it, and I say it almost every class, but their biggest tool is the music, because obviously, we want to go out and have a good time. We want to listen to some music, you know what I'm saying? Feel good, have some strong drink, you know what I'm saying? Chop it up with our brothers and sisters. But sometimes the music be so negative. That's why the old school music is like, I don't want to say it's better. Well, I kind of do want to say it's better, because even in the old school music, it don't promote the killing of your brother or your sister. It don't promote the majority of it do. The majority of it don't. You might catch a few songs that whatever the case, but the majority of the old school music, it was about love and what I'm saying, having a great time, and just dancing. Like the biggest dance out here today is women shaking their tail. Like, is that when I be seeing that, I'll be like, is that the final move that all the women do in the club, is turn around and show their behind, shake their behind? Is that the final move? Because I like to refer always back to the movie House Party. Y'all remember the movie House Party when Gina, I know her as Gina, but her real name is Tisha Campbell or Tisha Campbell, one of them. Her and that other lady, I don't even remember her name, but they both was going against Kid and Play in like the dance off kind of thing. Like, we need to bring that type of dance back, because they shake their behind just a little bit in that, but they didn't make their whole routine on shaking their behind. We need to bring that type of dance back. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I big up to Captain Katazar with that breakdancing thing that they had maybe a few months ago up in it was either in New Jersey or New York. You know what I'm saying? Just a different style, because how long will will twerking be the final dance of the women? Okay, you got a nice body or whatever. We can see that before you even dance, before you even do anything. So once you turn around and shake your behind, you're doing that same dance to every song. Like, the music makes the women seem like they're simple, when we know that we are the number one creative people out here. You know what I'm saying? The blacks, Hispanics, and even the Hispanics, they don't shake their behind all the time, but the music that they listen to, it promotes that. Like, so now you got Hispanics shaking their tail. I remember it was the what you call that, the merengue or something like that, the little two-step that the Hispanics do. You know what I'm saying? That was the base move of the Hispanics. But now they got the music done crept into their community, where now even they shaking their behind, and that's the final dance move. Like, even when I was growing up, you had little dance teams that do drills to songs. Like, and when I say drills, they change drill from a dance routine to a shoot 'em up type of thing these days. But a drill back in my day was young women, young ladies in the teens coming up with routines, like, to music. You know what I'm saying? Nothing with a gun was involved, but they came up with drills, and the number, they shake their tail just a little bit, but the whole performance wasn't about shaking your tail. You know what I'm saying? That's what the number one tool that the white man use in our music today to corrupt us, because now it ain't even about dancing. It's just about seeing some woman shaking her tail now. It ain't even about love. It's about lust. It ain't even about having a good time. It's about you having a few drinks in the club and you trying to take this woman home to do whatever, right? Which is pitiful, right? That's why the music don't promote the music these days. It don't promote having a good time. You know what I'm saying? It don't promote just a dance where two people dancing in harmony. It's all about lustful dancing. Her name is AJ Johnson. Okay, yeah, you're right. So AJ Johnson. So and that was maybe I didn't see that comment, but yeah, Tisha Campbell and AJ Johnson versus Kid and Play. That type of dance, we need to bring that back, because it challenges you to be creative. That's what we want to do in the ISUPK. Be creative with the dancing, because it's twerking the final move that everybody does, that every woman does. Like, I was arguing with somebody on the line on the internet, when I was like, I was telling them like women are the new pervs, right? The new perverts are women. That's what I was saying, right? And they was like, well, why you think that? And I was like, just scroll on your timeline. Just go ahead and press the magnifying glass, or just look down. It's other categories, but just look down. You'll see all kind of women turning around, showing they behind, showing they drawers, in lingerie, in see-through lace wear. Just everything's about twerking, showing cleavage. You name it, they done it. So that's some perv stuff. I was saying that's perv. They like, how's that perv stuff? This is sexual liberation. I'm like, sexual liberation, right? Do you understand that the so-called white man, whoever pay you to, when you get so many views on any social media, you know you get paid for that. But whoever pay you for these so many views, you know they set it up like that. They want you, and that stuff leads to the OnlyFans and the these websites that allow you to show sex on them, right? That leads you to that. Now you just selling your body online, or you selling provocative pictures, right? All of that, that's a tool of the so-called white man to corrupt us, right? And most of it because what the people outside the ISUPK, they be so high off drugs, drunk off the drugs and the liquor mixed together. All they want to do is have sex now. They don't even want to dance or have a good time. They just want to have sex now because of the drugs and the liquor mix, and not to mention the music. You know, the music got certain frequencies, right? But I didn't want to make this whole class about the music though. But that is corrupting, that's a big thing, because when we was young, we couldn't, I don't want to say we couldn't wait to go out to the club, but we wanted to go to the club, but some of us, we didn't use the fake ID thing. We just wasn't old enough, you know what I'm saying? But once we got there, we realized, do we really want to be here? Because it's the same thing every weekend or every other weekend. We go into the club, we see a girl, try to holler at her, try to take her home. Every other weekend, right? And then it's a new music out to shake your tail, and that's it. Like, it's a never-ending cycle, and it didn't stop since we've been grown. Even since we've been a child, they had music out like that. But when we was children, all the music wasn't like that. Nowadays, every single female artist out there promote the shaking of ass. Salakia to the men above me. Promote the shaking the, promiscuous type of deal, right? Sometimes I'll be wishing I was born in like the 80s or 70s or something, just to be a part of that whole routine thing. And the house parties where 2 men and 2 women to go against each other with the dance routine. Nowadays, it seemed like to me, even when the men dance, it seemed like it's a zesty dance. Like that little hip thing that the men be doing, that's zesty. Like that, I just want to rock. When the men do that, I'll be like, sometimes I'll be having to ask my rib, is this considered gay? Like, seeing this, would men be gay if they doing this? Salaki. Parmadad of Chicago said the parties ate. Hold on. The parties ate dial with demonic music that prompt violence and sexual. Exactly. Like today, that's how we know that the white man is a so-called devil, because he pays these artists handsomely, or you know what I'm saying, a lot of money to corrupt the youth. And that's where it starts at, with the youth. We know, as grown people, we know right from wrong. We know, you know what I'm saying, doing a certain dance or looking a certain way going to attract a certain amount of attention. But the youth, the youth just now growing up into these things, they don't know no better. And they in they like rebellious state where, their mother or their father tell them, you can't wear this or you can't listen to this. They gonna wait until they out of your presence to listen to it or to wear this. You know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, the artists today, the female artists, you don't have the Lauryn Hills, the India Aries, the even Now I know Erica Badu. She changed she did some sexual things, but she had some music like the Bag Lady and things like that. That wasn't promoted. It was just music. You know what I'm saying? It's just something to vibe to, right? But most of the artists today, they either, you know, promoting the sexuality, calling you broke. Like how artist, I've never been a part of this where an artist said, well, artist was calling her own fans broke, and I'm referring to what's her girl name? The light-skinned one. Not Cardi B, the other one. The Big Mama rapping chick. What's her name? I can't remember her name. But she's saying brokey. Like she'd be like brokey, her. She calling her fans broke and stuff like that on the line. Like I never ever heard that when I was growing up. Like as artists, wouldn't you think they would want us to purchase their music? But they calling you broke and they telling you, you know what I'm saying, shake your tail. Even Cardi B, you know, Cardi B promote that too. But when her daughter runs in the room, she cut the music off. But she wants your daughter to listen to it, right? How does that make sense? Right, Lotto, that's her name. Lotto. When we and when it comes down to Lotto too, we seen her growing up, like on I think it's a show called Growing Up Hip Hop or some with JD Jermaine Dupri. We seen her. She wasn't rapping about that type of stuff when she was young and growing up, but you know, I guess that's what the big labels and the so-called white man pay the big money for you to corrupt the youth. Right? But anyways, you know, I didn't want to get hung up. Sometimes you know, some of my classes I do talk about the music because I did one point in time want to be a part of that industry. You know what I'm saying? Until I found out the ins and outs, the ups and downs of it, and what you have to do to be a part of that. I said, no, thank you. I'm gonna just live my life for the Lord from now on. Salam, Lord Christ. We got the Ottawa officer 5,000, Madabar in the building. Okay. Well, we were just talking briefly on the state of music today. You know, it's all corruption. And I was saying, like back in the days when we was coming up, you know, you had the India Aries, the Missy Elliott's even. You know, just little artists sprinkled in there just to make music for you to dance and not to sexualize any and everything that they do. You know what I'm saying? Everything with Sexy Red is shake your ass, Salaki. Everything with Ice Spice, shake your ass. Most of the things with Cardi B is about sexual things, right? Megan Thee Stallion, most of her stuff is about sexual things. You never heard we came up on bars. If you didn't have no bars, you was out the door, right? Rap music is killing our people. Facts. That is facts. Because it really is. And it started, you know, a while back, but I didn't want to get hung up on, you know, I always talk about the rap music, you know, the music period. But, you know, you just have to learn. Well, as grown people, we know we just have to learn how to teach our kids, you know, that this music is negative. You know, this music can lead you down a path you don't want to go down. You know, you're not going to come out the other side smelling like roses and everything's good. No. You probably have a bad name after the thing. If you listen to these things that they actually say in these music, in the music and the things that they promote on the music videos, you want to protect your children from that because, like I said, man, it takes you down the left way when we going the right way, which is through the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. But if you don't protect your children from that left way, then, you know, somebody else going to influence your child to go down the wrong path. And you know what I'm saying? It's hard to once Satan got your kid's ear or got your kid's eye, you know, sometimes it's hard to get them away from that. So you have to stay. They play the music in our kids' part. Oh, and that's the thing. And that's another thing. It starts with the parents and the people who running these parties, because who is hiring these DJs? Who is allowing these kids to sometimes, and like I always say too, sometimes you have to be all in your kids' business. You got to. That's your duty as a parent. Be all in your kids' business. And I know you want to give them space, but sometimes to protect them, you have to be in their business. Who they talking to? Where are they going to spend these nights at if you allow it, right? What type of music they listen to? What intrigues them? Like spend a day with your kid and just watch YouTube with them or something. Listen to the music they listen to. Who are they influenced by? Who do they like? You know, you have to be all in their business to protect them, because you will never know. They're gonna listen to this stuff without you being present and whatnot. But if you don't know who to protect them from, or who to make them aware that this is not the right way to go, or what she's saying is not the way to be, you know what I'm saying? They just gonna automatically think it's right. And they gonna think you the bad person for not letting them do this, right? For not letting them and that goes all the way down from the music to the clothes to the people they hang around. You know what I'm saying? You have to, they don't got no privacy. No privacy. This ain't a white household. In the white household, they let the kids talk to them without any kind of way they want, get anything they want without earning it, go anywhere they want. Like, you can't do that in the black household. You have to earn this stuff. And I have to be 100% aware of what you're doing, when you doing it. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just for their own protection. When they get older, they're gonna thank you for that. They're gonna say, man, I appreciate you, mom, pops, for not letting me do this. Or I see what it always come back full circle. I appreciate you for, just protecting me from something. Or, you know what I'm saying? It always come back full circle. But if you just let them go willy-nilly, then when they grow up, they're gonna be blaming you for stuff. Man, you could have protected me from this. You could have protected me from that. Why you didn't tell me this was this? You know what I'm saying? So you want to be that parent to invade, you know what I'm saying, privacy and things of that nature, because you just being a parent, protecting your child until they old enough, maybe to go to college, or maybe to get that when they get their own apartment or their own job, then they know what to look for, or they know what to not be a part of, because it can lead them to sometimes the best experience is no experience at all. And that's when it comes to like the drug usage and the negative crowds and the negative people. The best experience is no experience when it comes to that. You don't even want to touch that, right? Because why? You could become addicted. You could become a drug addict. You could become, you know what I'm saying? Anything negative, you know what I'm saying? That's why as parents, being in your kids' life and, just talking to them, man, spend a day with them, a couple days, maybe, it ain't gonna hurt. It ain't gonna hurt to be in their business. It might make them uncomfortable at first, but then, they gonna warm up to you. Next thing you know, they telling you everything. Oh, Salakia. Let me put my phone on mute. Salakia. They got on me about not having my phone on mute, but let me put on phone on mute. But yeah, like I was saying though, it can help. I wish I had, the majority of us grew up without both of our parents in the household. I wanted that, as a young boy. That's the only thing I wanted, is somebody to keep me disciplined. In the back of my mind, when I was doing all that dumb stuff, I just wanted somebody to come home and tell me, don't do all that dumb stuff. If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? If that makes sense to you, some of us with the one parent household, that parent was working to keep that roof over our head. That one parent was working to keep clothes on our back, shoes on our feet, and food in our stomach, right? Until we came of age and was able to do certain things ourselves, right? Was able to go, do these things. But if you don't, as parents, if you don't start your kids on the right path as far as being able to earn stuff, being able to save their money, teaching them right from wrong, teaching them the right people to hang around, you know what I'm saying? Then who else would do it? It's just gonna be a never-ending cycle of, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so it's a difference between you being there and you being there, if that makes any sense. You being there and you being there, if that makes any sense, right? But Salaki, I always be getting sidetracked when it comes to kids because these are our future. The kids be our future. When we get old and gray, when we grow up, I don't. Salaki, I don't mean to say when we grow up. When we get older, you know, these are going to be the young people to, you know, make the decisions. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be 30 one day. They're going to be 30, 35, 20, 25, 20, 23. They're going to be that one day. And you just hope to be like, man, I hope I got through. You know what I'm saying? I hope I instilled some discipline, or I hope I instilled a lesson, you know what I'm saying, into them to realize, man, you know, I can tell you about everything how I grew up, but I just don't want you to have those same experiences. I want you to be on the straight path always, you know. And I ain't gonna say they're gonna be perfect at it, or they're gonna be just supremely perfect, but you have to just let them know about certain things, you know. You don't want to get into the drugs. You don't want to get into relationships at such young age. You know, don't focus on that. You know, you got, once you turn 15, 16, that's when usually where they want to be with, have a boyfriend or a girlfriend at that time, right? You have to teach them that don't focus on that, right? You have when they 16, they got 2 more years of high school, so 18, right? You have from, and then if they, Salakia, if, I don't want to say if they go to college, when they go to college, they got 4 years when they 18, 4 to 20. Okay, you 22. So you got, and that's just assuming that, you know, you instilled that in them. But when they turn 22, I mean, from 18 to 22, that's 4 years of college on whatever degree, whatever scholarship. You got all that time to study, you know, do what you're going to do, what you want to do as far as a career. What do you want to do as far as a career for whatever the case, however, for the rest of your life, for these next years, you know, that's the time to study. But then when you get out of college, then that's when the relationships want to kick in. You know what I'm saying? That's when you know, looking for a husband or looking for a wife. You don't want to get them caught up in that whole sexual thing at an early age, you know, because that would be the wrong path, you know. And it trickles. I mean, it starts like from the parents, from your parents to you to them, right? And you can tell if the kid got any sense in them or any type of learning in them from there, from just speaking with their mom, or, you know what I'm saying, things of that nature. So you want to, you know, instill in them, man, you got all the time in the world after you get out of school to be into those relationships. We just want you to be in school and, you know what I'm saying, get all the education you could so you can bring in the money that you want to make to be able to sustain your life. You know what I'm saying? And don't make the wrong decisions. Just a warning. I guess that's it. Parents serve as a warning because, you know, some kids, you know, get kicked out at a young age because they don't want to follow the rules. You know, everywhere they go is rules. In school, rules. It's rules to being a young man, rules to being a young woman, and rules to being a young man. Just to name a few, no means no. That's a big thing. Don't be fighting these young ladies out here. That's another big thing. You know what I'm saying? What else? Don't be getting into fights with other young men, because, you know, all that stuff can lead to you being gone for the majority of your life, somewhere locked up, right? And rules for women, young women too. Man, cover up. You don't want to be too sexual as a young, you know, as a young person, because you got some kids in school that don't have the two parents. that's messed up in the head. They're gonna try to sexualize your daughter and all this stuff, right? Cover your behind up, cover your cleavage up, right? Don't be too fast, you know what I'm saying? Fast meaning again, back to the sexual thing, because I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about out there. But that's the big thing, because if you got a young daughter, you raising a young woman, she might be coming up and looking pretty and stuff like that. Of course, the older people gonna, try to corrupt her as far as school goes, and even though I'm gonna call them even the R. Kellys of the world who sit outside the daggone school, who don't even go to this school. They 20-something, they've been out of high school. They just preying on young women. You have to be aware of that as well. If you just, it's all a focus thing. It's focus and discipline. Just focus on your schoolwork. You don't need a boyfriend or at this time. You don't need to be in these circles at this time. And I know young women get peer pressure. You just have to be disciplined and saying, hell no, Salaki. And say that. Salakia, hell no. They're going to be like, Salakia? What does Salakia mean? Right? Then you tell them to come to class after that. Facts, though. Right? But you know what I'm saying? Scratch all that, man. I didn't want the class to be on that. I wanted the class to be on brotherhood and the end of the world as we know it, right? Salakia Khan, we have a 15-year-old, so I know, right? So we have to be that shield and that protective thing, you know what I'm saying? I know, dealing with a young lady like that, a young woman, it's gonna be rebellious remarks, rebellious sounds and all this, but you just got to stick through it, because at the end of the day, we trying to protect them from things that our parents didn't protect us from, right? But yeah, Slocky, I didn't want that went on for a little bit long, but sometimes you just got to get it out, because at the end of the day, if we don't protect our children, who will? You got the list of missing kids going up higher and higher, and it's December. I'm gonna check. My next class, I'm gonna bring back the numbers of the missing children alone within the last 3 months, from October, November, December to now. I'm gonna bring the numbers from the last 3 months of the missing children, right? Because we have to protect our children. We have to make sure that they don't, as far as the young women, over sexualize themselves, be too fast into being into boys and things of that nature, and focus. Focus on your schoolwork. You don't want to be one of these. Like I always say too, now is the time to prove to, because people see you years later after you came out of high school, and you're gonna have that same thing on your head from what you did in high school. Like, they're gonna be saying, look, dude, that's that little musty dude. He used to be musty in high school. Or that's that little dude. He used to run from, he used to be scary in high school. This is the thing where you want to make your name. You want to hear, that's the girl, she always had her stuff right in high school. Or that's the girl, she was dressed professionally in high school. You know what I'm saying? You want those things to be said about you, later down the line. And right? You don't want to be the negative, somebody have something negative to say about you in the future when you see them when you out of high school. Like, that's the whore of the high school, or that's the she was dirty in high school, or things of that nature. You want to have them say something positive by showing them something positive. You don't want to fall into that group where they skipping school, doing the drugs, doing the boys, things of that nature right now. And I wish we had somebody like that to teach us this when I was coming up. I got 3 sisters and 1 brother. It's 5. Only thing that saved me, I had an older brother, and I had, I used to be around older gentlemen who taught me the ropes of certain things, But everybody don't get that privilege. Everybody don't get the game like that. You know what I'm saying? But scratch all that though. I didn't want to make this class about that. I wanted to make this class about the end of the world and brotherhood, right? Because, you know, that was a lot. Salakia. And my back is hurting. I don't know why. I'm sitting back in this thing. But yeah, as far as the end of the world, you know, so I know we're taking a big curve from the conversation we were just having, but we need to get into these scriptures real quick. Salakia. We're gonna start off with 2nd Exodus 6 and 9. 6 and 9. Okay. We're gonna hold that and we're gonna talk about it real quick. But 2nd Exodus chapter 6 and verse 9. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, Esau would be the end of the world. How do we know that? Because he's bringing out all the stops. You know what I'm saying? He got I want to speak on this controversial term that swept the nation within the last year, which is no diddy, right? Now we used to say, you know, pause, no homo, right? What else? Yeah, those are the two terms, right? But now, like I said before, they putting everything on the black man, the negative. Now it's no diddy. Even though, you know, I don't know if he did or didn't do what they say he did, but just the term no diddy, you know, that's putting the so-called homosexual thing onto the black people, onto the black man, right? No diddy. Y'all know what the no diddy thing mean, right? No homo, right? No, I mean pause, right? But like I said before, they putting the negative stigma onto the black man and making it no diddy. Just like you know, you got things like the superstitions, right? The don't cross the black cat, the step on a crack, you break your mama back, right? The broom, the sweep your feet, you know, things of that nature. You know, you got the breaking the mirror, 7 years bad luck, and even got the color, like the color of black, right? You got negative things like a black hole, a black cloud over your head. What else? Blackmail. Like you try to blackmail me. When we know in the ISUPK, we know that term is switched around to the white male. You try to white mail me because that's how they got the land from the Indians. They white mailed it. You know, they did the trickeration. They went behind their back. They didn't keep none of the treaties that they supposed to sign or kept. You know, that's called white mailing. How it got to blackmailing, you know, like they always do, they put the negative stigma on us. Blackmailing. It's a black. When people say it's a black cloud over you, that's a saying for that's why all the negative things happening in your life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a black cloud over your head, right? A black cat. You in all black, so you it's something wrong with you because you in all black, right? When we know it's completely reversed. You know, just look at the definition of the word black and the word white. You're gonna see what I'm talking about right there. They put everything negative on the black and everything positive on the white. Even with the picture of Caesar Borgia, right? It's a so-called white man with curly hair, right? And we know you can't find that image nowhere in this Holy Bible, in the KJV. But you know, you got them people out there that's gonna argue with you up and down. You even got grandmas up there that's gonna argue with you up and down. Oh, color don't matter. Why you think he this color? Why you think he that color? Well, why did they put him this color? And it says that he's this color, right? Because color does matter. It's all about what color. right? Because that's the ultimate question you have to ask anybody who says that the blonde hair, blue eyes, white man is Jesus. You have to ask them, well, where can we find this image at in the Bible? And you can't find it nowhere, because that's the greatest identity theft that they ever pulled ever on earth, making black Jesus a white man. The greatest identity theft. They showed you a little bit with the two movies. You know, I'm a big conspiracy guy, right? They showed you a little bit with the two movies, Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty, when God was black in there. They didn't make nobody else black, but okay, so Bruce Almighty, it was just the first one. But God was black in that, and it says God is black in here, right? But as far as Evan Almighty, he was supposed to be Moses, but he was supposed to be black. I mean, not Moses, Noah, Slakia. Right? And then here it says, and it says 7. If I'm not mistaken, hold on, it says 7 of the clean animals and 2 of the unclean animals. I'm not sure. I had that translation for y'all too next week, but they show you a little bit in these movies. You know what I'm saying? As far as what's that movie, that Jay-Z movie? The Book of Clarence. The Book of Clarence. They showed you a little bit in that movie as well. Like they know what color Yahushua is. And Yahweh. But they count on you not reading no books, not getting into anything. They just count on you to they gonna show you something and hopefully you believe it. They gonna put enough push behind this image and hopefully you believe it. They don't want you getting into the book though. That's why they're trying to make that's why this title of this class called The End of the World. That's why they're trying to make everything that goes against this Bible okay with society today. The homosexuality, the lesbianism, the shrimp, crab, and lobster, they make that a delicacy. Right? You go to a fancy restaurant, you see the shrimp and the crab is like $60. And you think, and I don't want to say you, but the people outside the ISUPK, you think that's a luxury just because it costs that much. No, that's some slacky to the man above me. That's some shit that you eating. Literally. Even the pig, not a pig, they did that. Like they made the pig as cheap as they can make it because they want you to corrupt your body. They want you to put some of this in your body and you sick some days later and you be wondering, how did I get sick? I didn't do anything but eat that pork sandwich. Yeah, you sick off of that, right? Beef ribs pork ribs is the one. They tell you, we got the ribs, pork barbecue, you know what I'm saying? They get you with that, right? Pork chops. I can't even remember the last time I even smelled a pork chop, right? But just the pork alone, they get you with that. They make you, and the shrimp, crab, and lobster, like I said, they make that a delicacy at these high-end restaurants. They got Red Lobster, they got Crab Shack. They got a place where it's live lobster out there that you can grab yourself, and they make it seem like it's a delicacy when it's really, slocking to the man above me again, when it's really shit that you're eating. That's the bottom of the barrel. If they really wanted to like be kosher as so-called Jewish men, they would have live lamb over here, live goat to where you can kill one yourself. But they don't got that. They got, what they got for you? Shrimp, crab, and lobster. And they make it expensive to make you think that it's a delicacy when it's shit. Salaki to the men above. And it goes against this Bible. That's what I said too. I mean, that's what I was getting at. They make everything acceptable that goes against this Bible. You got the the TV shows where the women fighting, and that goes against the Bible. Women supposed to be modest and soft and submissive, but on these TV shows they got women dressing half naked, women fighting each other, women pulling each other hair out, you know what I'm saying, talking reckless. Right? That's against the Bible. They got gay men pumping them up like they supposed to be like they showing you the image of, you know what I'm saying, things of that nature. That's against the Bible. This society of America does everything in their power to go against the Bible, to make it seem like going against the Bible is okay. When I always say too, nothing worth having is easy. Like following this Bible is not easy, and it's not for the weak. If you a weak person out there, you know what I'm saying, if you can't handle it, or if you can't be disciplined enough to not want the things that they promote in the world, like they promote women on women, lesbianism, strip, they promote women going to strip clubs, and women in the world promote that as well. And they argue with you up and down. They be like, well, what's wrong with going to the strip club? Man, that's lesbianism, and that's them showing you showing you their nakedness, in which only as a woman, only your husband's supposed to see your nakedness. And as a man, only your wife or wives supposed to see your nakedness. Your kids not supposed to see you naked. Your kids not supposed to see anybody naked. And that's as far as the men with his, shirt off, and the women with her shirt off or pants off. Kids not supposed to see that. I know society promotes, man, a man can go with his shirt off. They promote that at the swimming pools as well. Man, you ain't got to wear a shirt as a man. And me personally, I think that's some homosexuality, because why can a man go shirtless but a woman can't? That's homosexuality on the low, if you ask me personally, right? But that will be showing your nakedness. And some of us have to, me, myself, I learned that maybe recently, you have to cover up, shirt to here is good, shirt to here, but other than that, showing your chest and stomach area and all of that, that's nakedness. From the knee down, from the shoulder down, you good. But anything after that, they're showing your nakedness, man. And kids not supposed to see that, and nobody that's not your wife or not your husband is supposed to see that. But they promote it, like I was saying earlier when I was talking to the people online, and I was saying women are the new pervs, because they got these bikinis. They got these thong bikinis. They got women with their crack out here all in public. Cheeks be out. They be like, it's just a bikini. I'm like, man, I can see everything. That's crazy, right? And then you got the women with the big bosom area, right? They got small bikini, small tops on, to where everything's showing but the nipple. Like, that's showing your nakedness. That's being pervy, right? Not to mention the men out there in Miami, specifically, and anywhere that's hot on the beach. You got men wearing Speedos and wood thong for men. Like, that is so gay. And then you got them showing their chest, right? Right? It's not just on the women, it's on the men too. But like I said, America makes that okay. America doesn't condemn that. America only condemns us when we telling women to cover up. America condemns us when we say the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. America condemns and classifies us as a hate group when we didn't do no action that classifies us as a hate group. all we doing is talking. That's when you ask yourself, man, how can this specific school called the ISUPK, how can they be a hate group? They feed the homeless. We about to, in a couple days, we about to go and clothe the homeless and the needy in our brothers and sisters out on the Menominee Reservation. You know what I'm saying? We do counseling for free, any type of counseling, drug counseling, alcohol counseling, just counseling in general, you know what I'm saying, for free. How is that a hate group? You know, which furthermore should show you that they hate the truth. They hate anything that goes against their agenda, which their agenda is to corrupt the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And that's in every way too. Dietary wise, showing you images of nakedness, of women fighting on camera and on TV, acting like men. You know, men fight, men, you know, do that type of deal. But now it got so many views from our people, the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, that they just let the women do it. You know, women out here fighting on TV now, on Netflix, on Zeus Network. Zeus Network is the devil, man. Whoever runs Zeus Network, that's the devil, man. For sure. For sure. Right? And we already know the devil runs BET as well. And don't nobody black own BET. They just sold it maybe a couple years ago. But only thing you see on TV nowadays is corruption. You know what I'm saying? You got kids, you know, you be wondering, how did your kid know about certain things and you didn't teach them? That's because of the TV, the tablet, the cell phone, the internet. The internet is straight from the devil, straight from the devil's pocket, right? And I hate to keep saying back in our day, but back in our day, we didn't have the internet to just at our fingertips. We had to go to a community center, Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, and then that was only for a short amount of time. But today, in today's age, kids got the internet at the touch of a button all day. That's why I say it depends on the women. I mean, not the women, but the parents, to control and monitor how long these kids be on the internet, because the internet, you know, you can see just about anything on the internet. Salaki. Kwamada said, "Sir, have you seen the clips of gold diggers?" Oh, for sure. For sure. I thought the general spoke of that. That's why I didn't want to bring it up, but I didn't want to bring that up. But for sure, I seen that. Even Captain DeBar over Milwaukee, he showed me that at first. But if y'all out there and y'all got a Snapchat, right? It's a whole category for that. They show nothing but that on Snapchat. But you know, I'm the conspiracy guy, of course. I'll be thinking that stuff fake sometimes. I'll be thinking that stuff is fake, but it's real. I don't know if y'all understand. It's fake, but it's real. I don't know if y'all understand me with that. But those gold digger clips for sure. Like, okay, let's take it off the internet, right? Let's take it off the internet for a second. You at the little nice spot, and I'm just speaking as a man, right? A man outside of the UPK, right? You pull up at some nice looking, you know, a nice Ferrari, you know, something even lesser than that, maybe a BMW or Jaguar, what else luxury, a Benz, right? You pull up to the club in a nice looking Benz, a few of them women gonna want to ride with you just because of how your ride look. Now you could be the most horrible nigga in the world, but just because your ride look a certain way, at least 7. Oh, I don't know, because you know, I haven't been fishing on the market in a while, but at least 7 out of 10 women gonna try to get in there with you, try to get in the car with you, just because of how your car look. You don't even have to be smart. You don't even have to be God fearing. You don't have to follow the Bible. You know, just how your car look. These women willing to get in the car with you and drive somewhere to maybe a hotel or whatever and do the nasty just because of how your car look. That's the gold digger stuff that Kwame Dodge Chicago is talking about. And that's facts. Like, now, I personally think some majority of that stuff is fake, right? But majority of that stuff is real in real life. If y'all get what I'm talking about, because sometimes, you know, these YouTubers, they you know, got a little setup with these thick women on here. You know, they make the videos. I think since the literal Vine, when they took all them clips off YouTube, the Vine stuff, the World Star fights, you know, they took a lot of stuff off YouTube. But ever since the Vine stuff, that's about, I'd say about 8 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. But ever since they took that stuff off, none of the these clips are real. They doing it for the views. For the views and for the shock value. They want you to be like, look at these women. No, some of the women ain't like that though. And they hard to find. You know why? Because of the gold digger things. Because of the women online showing their tail, twerking, showing their cleavage. They out. I don't want to say they outshine, but they more promoted than the more promoted than the quiet women, than the submissive women, than the righteous women that you should be going for. And the thing is, when you see these women, the quiet women, the you know, and the quiet women, you know, they come from a lifestyle that, you know, they did party and do all that, but now they like, man, you know, it's time to hang it up. You know, they want to be submissive and righteous. Those the women that you want to look for. You don't want to look for the women that's just putting it all out there on the net. If you can see their body on the net, like as far as bikini, twerking, all that, then what's reserved for you? I don't know if I can say this. Like I'm gonna wait. So like, yes, sir, I feel you. But these women are wicked, oh, for sure. But if you can see all of that and you don't even know these people on the internet, what's reserved for you? And it's lock it to the man above me. But what's reserved for you? The hole, the nipple? Like that's only a few inches of cloth. You didn't show me the breast from all the way right here. Just a little piece of cloth is covering up the nipple. What's reserved for me? Everybody, I don't want a woman that's been all on the internet that showed everybody everything. Like, it's like Future said, you belong to the streets. Like, why would I even go there? Like, for real though, because it's like, and then you know, some of us try to talk some sense into ours. Like, we want to save our sisters. We want to show them a different lifestyle than what they've been living for so many years. But some of these women be so rebellious, so argumentative, so some of them just too far gone that you just can't bring them back to the light. Because they done been Salaki into the one above me too. Again, they done been maybe ran through. They done been doing sexual deviant things for umpteen years. So when you come in and try to say you don't need to do that, they looking at you like, man, this nigga soft. Man, this nigga is not street. How come I'm not street? Because I don't want you to be that way no more. I'm trying to help you. And they don't recognize the help. Sometimes they look at you like, man, this nigga's sensitive. Like, I'm sensitive for trying to help you, because at the end of the day, we got love for our brothers and sisters. We want to see you in the kingdom. We don't want to see you doing the same thing for years and years and years. You done sold that thing so much, like you don't even feel for men no more. And that shout out to Faith Evans. Faith Evans, the former wife of Biggie Smalls, she said it in one of these interviews. She was getting ran through so much as a youngster that as she older now, she about probably 40 or 50 now, that she don't care about a man's intimacy at this time. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Salakia. You know what I'm saying? But some of our sisters, man, they just so, and the Bible says this as well. They stiff-necked, rebellious, argumentative, right? You can't tell a sister that, okay, sister, look, if we be together, I'm gonna need you to stop this, stop doing this, and please don't do that. All you getting is, I don't want to stop doing this. I'm like, damn, I just asked you questions and asked you to do things if we to be together. So you really don't want this. You just want to continue as you were, hitting it and quitting it for years of your life. Then they getting 35, 40, 45 plus, like, where all the good men at? And you done passed them up because you was doing this and that in your years that Salakia, that's the technical difficulty. We need a new mic, y'all. Hit that cash app if y'all know it's bullshit. But we do need a new mic out here. I'm gonna see what I can do to get this new mic, because it just be muting by itself sometimes. But difficulties, we back at it. But yeah. We just be trying to save our sisters. It ain't like we trying to get at every single sister that we talk to. We just want to get you out the streets. We asking you to help us to show the rest of the sisters. All the sisters ain't like this, right? They can change their ways, things of that nature, right? But Salakia, I got off track once again. You asked them to stop smoking. Their favorite thing to say is, you used to smoke. All right. Like, and then so when they say you used to smoke, then you emphasize the word is, I used to smoke. Now I'm trying to help you. Then you have to turn it around like, man, I want you to live as long as I do. I'm just trying to help you. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of that demon of smoking. It's a demon at the end of the day. Because what type of person get up in the morning and smoke a cigarette before they drink some water, or before they drink an apple juice or orange juice? That's a person that's addicted, right? And you don't want the worst thing you can say to a person that's addicted is, you addicted, right? You want to help them. You want to try to wean them off in some type of nice way, because a person that's addicted, that's where you want to affect the feelings at. Man, you addicted, man. You don't want to tell them that they're addicted, but this is something that you're thinking, man, this person addicted. How can I get this person off of this without offending them, right? You acted high and mighty. Oh, of course. I want you right here with me, though. I'm acting high and mighty. Okay. If you just put them cigarettes down, if you just put the weed down, you can be the same way I am. Right? You can be the same way I am, and it feels much better to your health, to your pockets, and to the people around you, especially if you got kids, right? Because they ain't catching that secondhand smoke. They ain't seeing their mother or their father keep putting something to their mouth, and then they grow up, years later, now they putting something to their mouth. Like you don't want to have to. That's a generational curse. Smoking is a generational curse. You don't want to have that same curse throughout your generations, right? You have to be the one to break the cycle. And that's what the UPK did for me and for many others. It helped us break the cycle. I never thought, like, that used to be my so-called New Year's resolution every year. Oh, I'm gonna quit smoking. I'm gonna quit smoking this year. I'm gonna quit smoking this year. But once I start watching the videos on and Salakia too, it makes everything stink. Exactly. And then once you as a person stop smoking, you able to smell the smoke. Even if a person has sprayed 10 pounds of cologne or perfume on them, you're like, man, this motherfucker smell like weed, or this motherfucker smell like cigarettes under all the perfume they sprayed. Like, I think that's a superpower. It got your sinuses back to where it's supposed to be. Like, you smell that on people who sprayed, masked it, and then the people you tell at your slave or whatever, like, you smell like weed. They be like, no, I don't. I sprayed. Hey, nigga, I can smell that for sure. But that's how you want to do it. You want to make your senses heightened to where, it's a health thing too. Once you get older and you continuously smoking this and smoking that, it gets harder and harder to quit something when you're older, because you've been doing this for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. When somebody younger than you come to you and say, and you can beg them, man, please stop smoking. I beg you to stop smoking. They're going to say, well, I've been smoking this whole time. It really ain't do nothing to me. You think it's not doing it. It's a buildup. Why you think they call it cancer sticks? It is building the cancer up within you. And that's how you got to look at it. And that's how you got to tell, you have to tell other people, man, I just care about you a whole lot. And sometimes it's hard as a person coming out the world. It's hard to talk a little different. You probably would have been that person to, talk wild and talk loud. But sometimes, it's a good thing to talk a little different. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, I just want to see you, and maybe you got people in your family that die from either lung cancer, heart cancer, breast cancer, period. Like that, a big thing of that comes from smoking, putting smoke in your body, whether it be the vapor, the weed smoke, the cigarette smoke, the hookah. You know what I'm saying? That's real popular in these clubs today, the hookah. Even though it's not in you're not supposed to inhale it, it still gets in your body. It's metal in your lungs. It's like you just want to try to get them to say, man, look, man, especially if you lost a loved one to cancer or to smoking or to overdose or what I'm saying, things of that nature. I don't want to see you like such and such. I want to see you like me. You got to hit them in their heartstrings, and all you trying to do is to trying to get them healthier, right? You want them to be looking at smoking like you look at smoking now, and it'd be hard for the first couple of weeks, man. This and that, I'm going through this and that. That's just a demon testing you. It's I don't know how many of y'all out there seen Killer Season, but he was testing her when she was getting clean in Killer Season. He was testing her like, man, I got 300. He said, man, I got 3 bundles for the 300. I'm just playing. Go ahead and budget that. But it's a test, and no test is easy. You can't, well, maybe some tests are easy, but you can't study for this test. You have to quit it cold turkey. This might be the only test you can't study for, is the quit smoking and the quit smoking test. It's the only test you can't study for. But you can have help with you with other ex-smokers. They can encourage you, man. This just one day. Try 2 days. Oh, this just 2 days. Try 3 days. Or this just 1 week. Try 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? You do have that support system with other former smokers, right? And that goes for any type of drug, any type of cigarette, you know, any vice that you may have had or that you may have, you know, you can always talk to the former, whoever used to do that vice, talk to them and see how they did it. Man, I just believe in the Bible so much that the Bible said, you know, if you don't stop doing this, you could die. Or listen to yourself. You know, you've been to the doctor because of your chest hurting or because of your shortness of breath. You know what I'm saying? You sometimes you do have that talk within yourself, man. If I keep doing this, man, and I'm at a young age and my chest hurting. Imagine me being 50 and my chest hurting like this from smoking. You know, sometimes you have to scare yourself into not smoking. At the end of the day, you only helping yourself by quitting smoking, right? Like I said too, it's a generational curse. If you smoke in front of kids, they're gonna say, well, she used to smoke. She smokes, so why can't I smoke? Right? But it's a lot. Oh, y'all always sidetrack me when I look at the comments. y'all always sidetrack me. Slocky. Let me read this verse real quick on the end of the world. What's the name of the class is the end of the world, right? This is the book of Second Exodus, chapter 6, verse 9. Okay. And again, before I read this though, that's another vice that the so-called white man put in our neighborhoods. You know, I never even thought like, okay, and I'm referring to the younger me, like the 16, 17, 18-year-old me. I never thought of smoking cigarettes. It was all about the weed, but the influences kick in, the your friends, man, you know, hit some of this, it boosts up the weed, or you know what I'm saying? You see them and then they make it look so cool to smoke. Next thing you know, you're like, let me hit that. And you hook from your first puff, right? And that you can chalk all of that up to the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speak of, because that's a drug. Cigarettes is a drug. It's just a legal drug. It's like Tylenol or something that you can get prescribed over the counter, like codeine or promethazine. All of that is a drug. Just because it's legal, that don't make it not a drug, right? Y'all better pay attention to this type of stuff, man. They pick and choose on what they can come raid your house on, come pick you up as, take you out the car, because they can pull you over. Oh, it smell like weed in here. Pull you right out the car. They search the car, find not an ounce of weed in there, not a speck of weed in there. What you mean it smell like weed? You a liar. And of course, the white man is a liar, is the protagonist of this thing called America, this thing called modern day Babylon, right? But Slacky, this is the book of Second Exodus, chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob, wait, we got to stop right there. For Esau is the end of the world. Okay, what's going on now? He's flipping everything. He's making images of he's showing you images, and y'all know the majority of us Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians, we learn off images. We learn off, you know, some of us, you know, can't read. All we have to do is see the picture and know what it's talking about, right? That's what the the TV shows us the images of wars, the images of our women looking like whores or being whores, the images of our men being feminine and dressing like women, the images of our kids being corrupt. And then now we believe that it's us, right? Because the Esau is the end of the world. He pulling out all the stops. I don't know what's next, right? He already put sexual images in the kids' books and libraries and schools. He already put my body, my choice. Now all the younger women think like they can have an abortion and as if they say so and things of that nature. Not knowing that they playing a dangerous game with the Lord, right? That's a dangerous game to play. The abortion game, that's a dangerous game to play. Because at the end of the day, it can mess up your ovaries. It can offend the Lord, which is the biggest thing. It can offend the person who put the baby in you. Well, they don't look at that. They look at it's in my body. It's when you could have just had protective sex or none at all. Stop being so hot in the pants, right? Slocky. Let me finish this. The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. Man, ain't no abortion clinics gonna be in the kingdom of heaven. Ain't no my body, my choice in the kingdom of heaven. Sorry to tell you. Sorry, but not sorry. That's what the Beyonce thing. It ain't gonna be no abortion clinics in heaven, in the kingdom of heaven. Ain't gonna be no my body, my choice. Ain't gonna be no feminine men in heaven. Ain't gonna be no men dressed up as women in heaven. Ain't gonna be no men with fingernail polish, moving their hips all kind of crazy ways. It's crazy, right? Talking and acting like women. Ain't gonna be none of that. Ain't gonna be no homosexual men in the kingdom of heaven. Ain't gonna be no lesbianism going on in heaven. And believe it or not, ain't gonna be no dreadlocks in the kingdom of heaven. Ain't gonna be no getting tatted in the kingdom of heaven. Y'all crazy out there, man. And that's another tool that the devil uses, the tattoo thing. The Bible says, thou shalt not get any. I'm gonna get that too. I'm gonna get that. Thou shalt not get any cuttings in thy flesh to remember the dead. That's all that RIP this person stuff. That's all that. I'm gonna get that. Salaki, bear with me real quick, y'all. I'm gonna get that. And I know, sometimes it'd be hard, but you know that this person died, right? So it's why would you give the date that they died and this right? Salaki, bear with me. Leviticus chapter, and it's in the Levitical law. Leviticus chapter 19, chapter 19, verse 28. Let's get that real quick, because I know that's a big thing too within this community. It's not our culture to get tattoos, right? That's an Egyptian custom and a European custom and a Greek custom, right? And an African custom. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 28. Now, right? This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 28. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. Now, what does that mean? What does ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead? What does that mean? It means none of that RIP this person, none of it. Like, do I really have to explain that verse? It says, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord. Now, after hearing this verse, after being in the ISUPK from this time forth, thou shalt not do it. Right? It says, thou shalt not make any cuttings in thy flesh for the dead. That's all that. RIP, this person, that person, the picture of the person on your body, you know, but who promotes that? The industry. Drake, people like Drake, you know what I'm saying? NBA players, NFL players, right? You see them with the full sleeve of you see them with the full sleeve of tattoos of RIPs this and RIPs that, right? But the Bible in Leviticus chapter 19 verse 28 says, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. Don't be putting that RIP stuff on your body in ink, right? Especially a tattoo thing. You can't do that type of stuff. That's not our custom, and that's against the Lord, right? And then it says, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord. That's tattoos, period. You can't get Carpe Diem tatted on you. You can't get one love, hate. What else is the common tattoos? I feel a little tight with this top button top, Salaki. With this top, my neck feel a little congested, Salaki. But what's the other common tattoos? Your mom's name, your dad's name, your wife's name, your rib's name, right? Your dog's name. You can't get none of that tatted upon you, right? Jesus's name, the Bible scriptures, you know, that's pretty common as well, you know. But who promotes that though? All the TV shows, all the rappers, all the entertainers. Well, most of them, because most of them don't promote that. I mean, they don't promote it, but they get the tattoos, right? But they don't promote it. But who really do promote that? The basketball players, the NFL players, boxers. The Bible says thou shalt not, so thou shalt not. Ain't no way around thou shalt not. Once you see thou shalt not, then what? Thou shalt not. It's lucky. You know, we're going to drop that. Wait, hold on. Okay, we're going to read 29 as well. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 9. I mean, Salakia, chapter 19 and verse 29. The book of Leviticus, man, if you just sit down, if you just take the time to read the book of Leviticus, it tells you everything you need to know about thou shalt not, right? You don't want to go against the book of Leviticus. Okay, let's move on. But this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 29. Now, this goes with what I was talking about earlier about your young daughters that you're raising up, your young women that you're raising up to be righteous, right? And this totally falls on the parents, right? You know, because some parents are just corrupt. They will tell their daughter, man, you need to go over there and do this to that man to make him love you, right? And sexual relations that man to make him love you, right? This goes directly against that, right? The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 29. Now, some of our parents needed to hear this, not mine personally, but some of our parents in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community, you know what I'm saying, needed to hear this because some of the women out there, as far as mothers and daughters, they be trying to do the same. The mothers be trying to do the same thing their daughters do. Like, it's like they can't wait till they be grown so they can so they can tell them how to be as far as being with a man, or you know what I'm saying, the negative way, right? This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore. Now, I want to stop right there. Some of the mothers out there are straight corrupt. Straight corrupt. Maybe they was rebellious to their mother, which would be your grandmother. So they're teaching you to be a whore just like they was, possibly. Right? But the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 29 says, do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, and the land become full of wickedness. Meaning, if you do that, if you tell your daughter to go make sexual relations with this man, or go make sexual relations with this man, you are causing her to be a whore. Therefore, the land will become full of wickedness. You're supposed to be teaching as a woman or a father, right? You're supposed to be teaching your daughter, man, keep it in your pants, man. You ain't that hot in the pants to not focus on your work and schoolwork, right? You have better things to do until you finish with school and out of my house. Because why? We don't want you to have kids at an early age. And now we taking care of them because you so spoiled. We taking care of these kids that you left behind. And vice versa too. Either your mother had left you with your grandma or whatever the case. Now you trying to that's your job. You don't want to leave your kids with your mother, especially if she gave you bad advice as far as being a whore, right? You don't want to teach that to your daughter. You want to break that curse. That's a curse. That's a demon. The demon of whoredom. That's a sexual demon. You do not want, once that sexual demon get on either a young man or a young woman, good, I want to say good luck. Lord be with you on trying to convince that young lady or young man to not go down that path. Once they go down that path, all you can do is pray for them, man. That's a hard path to come back from. Right? So that's why I was saying that earlier. You want to teach the young man or the young woman to be, to keep it in their pants. It's a focus on the work at hand. It could be the Lord's work, school work, or just working on themselves to become the Lord's children, is following the law, statutes, and commandments, right? and it might be tough, but nothing worth having is easy. If you can just get this water easy, it is water, but it really ain't. It really ain't special to you, right? And that can go for Hebrew Academy, Salakia. But Salakia. Okay, Salakia. But yeah, that can go for a range of many things. You know what I'm saying? The spare the rod, the spoil the child and spare the rod. If you spoil your child and spare the rod, it's gonna come back to bite you because kids take miles. I don't want to say they take a mile. If you give kid 1 inch to do something, they're gonna take 17 miles about you, right? Especially if not listening is they like is they vice is was your vice and now it's their vice. They just not gonna listen to you now that you you know what I'm saying. It trickles down, right? Slocky. Now let's drop that, right? And let's get a brotherly scripture in here. You know what I'm saying? That's the book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and 1. Let's get a brotherly scripture in here. You know what I'm saying? I've been yapping all night about this and that. Let's get a brotherly scripture in here. I don't want to say yapping. Slocky. I wasn't yapping. I was speaking the truth, if you will. Hebrews 13. The book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 1. Oh, this the end of this the end. So we dropped that and we got the Hebrews chapter 13, verse 1. Now we're just going to read the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 1. Because the first was the first commandment, right? I think it's the first commandment or the second commandment. Let me see. Let me make sure because I want to say the truth out here always. Okay, it's the second commandment, Slack. I need to turn that down upstairs. I hear that. Hold on. Salakia, hold on. Bear with me for a second. So I hear to the people in the chat room. I thought that was the second greatest commandment. Okay. Matthew chapter 22, verse 39. Slacky. Now, Matthew 20. Now, we're going to get Matthew chapter 22, verse 39 after this because this would be the premise of what I want to bring out tonight. I mean, what I want to bring out, which is this is the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 1. Let brotherly love continue, meaning, you know what I'm saying? You can't, and I know it's hard too. Sometimes it's tough to be the bigger person every time. It's tough to be the bigger person when you think that you're right. When you you know what I'm saying? When you think that well, I'm right and that person is wrong, so I ain't gonna say nothing or do nothing until they do, But that wouldn't be brotherly love to, you have to come to your brother like, man, I think I'm right, but I don't want to lose a brother over this little petty um it's like petty argument that we having, or this petty disagreement that we having. And that can go for your rib or your husband as well. I don't want to have a grudge between my rib or my husband through this petty argument that we having, that especially that goes for rib and husband. The love shall continue. You shouldn't want to be you know what I'm saying, distant from your rib or your husband. You should be the one, it goes for rib or husband. You should be the one to say, man, try to amend it. Try to amend the disagreement, because you're gonna see this person tomorrow. You're gonna see this person the next day. Why would you want to put a punishment in place for your spouse? It says, let brotherly love continue. Right? Why would you want to put, like I said, a grudge or a friction? Yeah, friction would be the good thing between a spouse and a spouse and another spouse, or a rib between a husband. Why would you want that friction to be dividing y'all like that? You should be the one to, show that affection, man. This happened and this happened, but it's been a day or two. It's time to amend this. And that goes the same for a brother or a sister. It's like, I know coming out the world, somebody got a grudge. I don't want to say a grudge, because a grudge is like a long period of time, right? Somebody has like a disagreement with you, but you feel so strongly about it that you're not talking to this person for a day or a day or two. You know what I'm saying? You want to be that first person to say, man, I'll forgive you for this, even though I think I'm right or whatever. It's nothing too big to get over, to have an enemy just because we disagreed on this little bitty thing, right? And being outside of the ISUPK, I can understand how that's tough. You know what I'm saying? Because most of us come from the gang life. Most of us come from we've been raised on our own since 14, 15, 16, 17. So it's tough to forgive a person or just let things go in general. You know, that's what this means. Hebrews chapter 31, Slakia, chapter 13 and verse 1. Let brotherly love continue. And when it says let brotherly love continue, you can also add let sisterly love continue. I don't want to lose you because a minor disagreement that we had. We could have just been maybe had a little bit to drink and we had this minor disagreement. We could have, you know what I'm saying, we could have misunderstood each other and had a small disagreement. But at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of whatever the case, let the brotherly / sisterly love continue. Meaning, man, you want to forgive this person. Because what if something hit the fan right now? What if immediately we had to evacuate the places where we live right now? You want to do all that and have a grudge with your sister or brother? They gonna be like, man, I don't mess with you like that. You remember the last time we talked? You know, people hold that in their mind no matter what. Some people, right? That's why you want to overlook that stuff. You 10 times out of 10, you know, and I know it's tough, you know, sometimes it be tough. I just talked to my sister, my oldest sister, the other day in the grocery store, me and my rib. I'm like, you know, I missed you at you know, such and such little gathering. She like, oh, me and her into it. I'm like, y'all into it. You the oldest out of all of us. I'm like, you the oldest. This is what I'm thinking in my head. She like, I'm like, you the oldest out of all of us. You gotta, you know. She said, I'm tired. I'm this and I'm that. I'm like, well, it kind of is different between men and women, but at the end of the day, we do have to let brotherly / sisterly love continue. You know, you're not my enemy just because we had this disagreement on this. You're not my enemy just because, you know, we had friction on this. You know, we have to overlook the small things because at the end of the day, I'm here to save you and you here to, you know what I'm saying? As far as the chain of command goes, right? God, Jesus, Salakia, God, Yahweh, man, woman. I'm here to save you. You're here to save the kids. All you got to do is just listen to my lead. As long as it ain't nothing unlawful, you know what I'm saying? As long as it ain't nothing unlawful, you should be able to take that direction. Right? But as far as the relationship go, we both in the relationship, rib, husband, we have to learn how to, and I know it's hard coming out of the world and into the truth. And some of us been in this truth for a couple years now, more than a couple years. We have to learn how to let certain things go, man. You know, how to not do it, man, how to not do your spouse like this, how to not do your significant other like this, you know? You have to learn how to let certain things go. And as your sister and as your brother, you know, you offended me this way. I just wanted to tell you offended me this way and this and that, but we can get past that. You know, at the end of the day, we all working towards a common goal, which is getting up out of this hellhole called modern day Babylon / America. America never liked us. So the question, are we going to let this friction that we have between me and you come between me and you getting out of here? Because if we are, I'm going to push you down for my spot over here. And that's not the way that we have to, that's not the way of brotherhood or sisterhood. The way of brotherhood or sisterhood is, I'm going to let you go before me or I'm going to save a spot for you. Right? Ain't nothing too serious to not forgive a person for. Like, they didn't kill me. They didn't kill none of my kids. They didn't, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing too serious to forgive our brother or our sister for. And that's what this Hebrews chapter 13 verse 1. And I want to jump from Hebrews chapter 13 verse 1 to Matthew chapter 22 verse 39. 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 22. Matthew chapter 22 verse 9. Hold on now. Is that the right one? Matthew 22 verse 39. Okay, we're gonna read 37 just to piece them together, right? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 37. Jesus said unto him, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. Meaning you have to, he died for the sins of us because we wanted to eat the pork. We wanted to celebrate our birthdays. We wanted to make cuttings in our flesh. You know what I'm saying? We wanted to get the linings, put the razor on our skin. We wanted to do the same thing as these heathen nations, right? But he died for us. So we have to show him appreciation by what? Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind, right? Verse 38. This is the first and great commandment. This is the first and great commandment. We have to do it. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? This is something we have to do. Let's keep going. Salaki, that was verse 38. Verse 39. And the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Meaning, if your neighbor is Black, Hispanic, and Native American, you have to love thy neighbor like thyself. Look out for their kids like you will look out for your kids, Feed them. If that neighbor is going out to the slave and you at home when the kids coming from work, when the kids coming from school, which is work, Salakia. When the kids coming from school, have them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches ready, man. Have them, you know what I'm saying? Them turkey sandwiches, them chicken sandwiches, roast beef. What else they got that's lawful? Have those sandwiches ready because when the kids come home from school, they obviously be hungry, right? That's just a little snack, a little snacky snack, right? Look out for them. You know what I'm saying? You see a mysterious vehicle pull up, you be like, hey, y'all, come on the porch real quick. You know what I'm saying? Just look out for these people. It don't mean the neighbor. If your neighbor is white, Chinese, African, these ain't the people that it's talking about. Even though they're your literal next door neighbor, you don't have to look out for them people. Them people don't even like you. They like your money. They like your business. They might talk to you, you know what I'm saying, to get in on. They trying to get in on your righteousness, right? But the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. You see your neighbor in a Black, as far as being Black, Hispanic, and Native American. It's like you see your neighbor leaving, they might left their garage open. You might want to, and this is when you get to know them, you don't want to just go in nobody randomly and go do this. But if you see their garage still open, you want to go close their garage for them. You want to knock on that door, make sure they wife and whatever it is safe. Because at the end of the day, if martial law come down, you want to build a rapport with all the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that you live around, because only y'all gonna have to keep the fort safe, right? If some type of state of emergency, y'all gonna be the ones that keeping y'all safe. The outside heathen people gonna be the ones trying to come and take, and you gonna be the ones trying to keep it safe, right? So love that goes with what we were just reading in Hebrews. What's that night? I think 13:1. Let brotherly love continue. That's the brotherly love. Treat them as you want to keep them alive, and they're gonna treat you as they want to keep you alive, right? Like I said though, I'm into that whole conspiracy thing. So I've been watching movies and online and all that, and I got some ideas on how they coming, but I don't know if it's true or not. But until then, follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible, right? Verse 40. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Meaning, you read these first two commandments, this is how you should structure the way that you live, right? Loving the Lord with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and all thy mind. Then the second is, thou shalt love thy neighbor, man. Y'all gonna be fighting side by side if y'all Black, Hispanic, and Native American. I don't want to. Martin Luther King should have never mixed us with these people, because now we thinking that. And I want to say we. When I say we, I mean the people outside of the UPK, because the people in the UPK, we know the truth. The people outside the UPK think the Lord loves everybody. People outside the UPK think we all people. We all bleed red is what their favorite thing to say, right? We all bleed red, but they don't think, man, your people done put us in slavery 100 years ago, and still to this day, right? They don't look at it like that. They look at it as, like I said, the Lord loves everybody, and we all human. But we in the UPK, we know better. You know what I'm saying? We know to live our life through these two commandments. Love the Lord, all thy mind, heart, and soul, and love thy neighbor. Those are the first two. Imagine what the other 600 and some other commandments say. They only teach about 10 in America. They only teach about 10 commandments. They say the great 10 commandments. But when they say the great 10 commandments, they don't mention any other commandment after the 10. But did you notice that in the 10 commandments, they don't say, in the 10 commandments that they say, that they pump, it don't say nothing about having slaves. It don't say nothing about taking a woman against her will. It don't say nothing about hitting women, fighting physical women. It don't say nothing about women covering up, right? It don't say nothing about men not being gay or homosexual, Salakia. It don't say nothing about women not being lesbian, right? So I guess the 10 commandments that the America push, outside of those 10, you can do whatever you want according to America, right? Wrong according to the ISUPK. According to the ISUPK, it's 600 and some commandments that you're supposed to keep. It's way more than 10. But America gonna try to shortcut and confuse you and do all this nonsense, right? Because they, at the end of the day, They want you as far away from the Bible as they can be, so they can take you down with them. Their job is to bring you as far away from the Bible as possible, so you can be corrupt right with them, so you can be confused right with them, right? So you can go against the Lord right with them. And y'all gotta be careful, man, on who y'all letting y'all circle, who y'all letting y'all kids circle. Like I said earlier, be all in y'all kids' face, man, all in their business. You have to be nosy, because at the end of the day, that comes with protection, right? Crazy. And with that, man, this has been the ISUPK coming out of 1 West Harlem, New York, 125th Street, under commanding General Yohana. We are not affiliated with no Israelite groups, period. We ain't celebrating Yahushua Day, man. We celebrate the high holy days, right? This has been ISUPK Milwaukee. I am Officer Kananya, Officer 500 Kananya, reminding you that we got the clothes drive coming up on the 14th of December. Y'all let the nearest school know in your city, you know what I'm saying, if you want to donate some winter clothes or donate any type of clothes, to be exact, shoes, boots, scarves, gloves, hats, coats, you know, we really appreciate it, because we got this clothes drive out on the Menominee Reservation, spearheaded by Officer of 1,000 Amungabar. You know what I'm saying? If y'all got any other clothes y'all can donate, please do that. Contact your nearest school on how you can be a part of the donation. And if it's nothing else, well, shalom, Israel. Protect yourself out there, man. Salaki. The water for joining the class.